Okay. So I would first of all like to thank Nelson who's not here for feeling small enough with my thunder for this presentation. There we go. So mine's more based along the lines of politics, similar to what Nelson's was, but it does vary slightly. I just want to get a little information from you guys about like what's going to be important issues to you guys during this election. All right. All right. Come on. I know. Job.
Healthcare.
The economy. So, now, these are all pretty big national issues that we have here, but can you guys tell me some issues that we're having locally?
Well, healthcare, like you said.
Whether to allow principals to fire teachers on the spot rather than having the teachers go through like an evaluation process to get fired.
Okay. Yeah. Illegal immigration. Yeah, that's a good one. Now, what my presentation is trying to tell you guys is that, yeah, the national elections, they're important. The president, that's a big job, face the free world. But what you guys should really be focused on is your local officials. Because with your local officials, you're going to see the changes more immediately with them. Than you would say, like the president. Sure, these are going to be issues, yes, jobs, unemployment, but let's be honest, jobs in Utah, the unemployment rate is lower in Utah than it is in the rest of the country. It's a good place to live. You know why? Because your local officials are actively out there looking to improve things, jobs, situations, things like that. Now, what you want to do is you want to be knowledgeable on these issues. For example, tuition costs, which directly affects you guys. I was just reading in the school paper, actually, it's going to go up 4.5 to 7% in the next year, which may seem like a lot now, but Utah is still in the lower quarter as far as tuition rate hike. The sex ed bill, have you guys heard anything about that? You want to explain what that is?
Some like very low research, basically to get rid of the sexual education that like the school system, the economy, the home.
But basically, if a parent wants the child to be taught sex ed in school, the school is only allowed to teach abstinence. That's the only form of birth control sex ed that can be taught. And the public lands bill. Has anybody ever heard about that? That directly affects our national parks here. Now, the national parks, all the land is owned by the federal government. Governor Herbert just signed a bill requesting that the federal government give the land back to Utah. So. Kind of similar situation to what's going on in Dakota. They're trying to get some of their lands back as well. Now, I bring up Herbert just because you want to be knowledgeable on your local officials and what exactly they stand for, what's important to them, and how they plan on using their time in office. For example, Governor Herbert, he is for the public lands bill and the 72-hour abortion. You guys know what that is? There's a bill recently passed saying that a woman must wait 72 hours after her request for an abortion so she can really weigh her options if she wants to go ahead and go through with it. But recently he did veto the sex ed bill, so he is against that. Okay? That's important to some parents. They may want to look into voting for somebody else next election. His three main focuses are education. He hopes to have 66% of Utah people, or Utahnians, I don't know how you say that, I'm not from around here, have a post-secondary education by 2020, I believe it was. He's focusing on jobs. Now, the reason tuition prices are going up a little bit here in Utah, a little bit more than they had originally planned, is because they're taking some of the money that they would use for tuition and they're redirecting it towards reconstruction of, say, roads, things like that. That's the reason Utah has a low unemployment rate. And then energy as well. He wants to be one of the forefront leaders in the state for renewable energy, such as wind, solar, things like that, and also adding jobs. But why you should get out, this is kind of, Nelson touched on this already a little bit. The people who are out there voting right now, they're 55 and older. I mean, why do you go out to vote? You go out to vote because you're pursuing your own personal interest. The 55 and older crowd, they're obviously going to have a different personal interest than we are. And when they vote, they're deciding your future for you. The 26 and under, like also Nelson said, thank you, is the least likely to vote, mainly because they don't have any time, they don't think their vote matters, and to be honest, some of them just don't care. So, I guess what I'm trying to say is that when you go out and vote locally, you're making a bigger impact in your life. Sure, the national elections are important, the president, like I said, but when you're going out and you're voting for your local city leaders and things like that, you're going to see an immediate change compared to when you just go out and vote for your president. So what I'm going to leave you with is don't just sit back and let someone else decide your future. You should get out there and vote and make your voices heard in your community.